over Madison by a handful of points. Right now, Jan Trainer, number 4, jamming for Windy City against top 5, Susie Powell for Charme City. Both of these walls braced, breaking up Charme City's walls. Doing a really good job at the front is Windy City. Nice drawback there from Windy City, pulling Susie Powell all the way to the back of that braced 4 wall. Same thing for Windy City. Jan Trainer going recycled all the way to the back. Through for lead jammer status, though, Susie Powell.
Windy City and Charme City were both playing great recycle jobs, going back and forth in turns 2 and 1, trying to get the opposing jammer stretched back. And Cherry Licious on her way to the penalty box is going to give the pack advantage to Windy City.
Nice brace here at the front. All 4 blockers for Windy City. A little bit of a 3-1. Now a full 3-1 here at the front for Windy City as they keep Susie Powell at bay. Through for her initial pass is Jan Trainer. Susie Powell is going to call it and take what she can get, which is 3 points.
So, I mean, coming into this one, it was a big question mark. I think who is going to win this, because these two teams are already pretty well matched historically. Windy City has the series lead 3-1, but they haven't played since 2012, so this has been a game that we've been looking forward to for a while, and they have past history at ECDX.
Don't we all?
Don't we all?
We really do. We all really have past history at ECDX.
Especially you. You've been here for all of them.
For all of them. Killinois jamming for Windy City. Kamikaze Cash for Charme City. We've got a 4-on-3. Pack advantage to Windy City. Beautiful door from Mako, just opening that outside lane for her jammer. Lead status goes to Windy City. Right behind her, though, about half a track, Kamikaze Cash.
Charme City really tried to get that 3-wall in the front, but it was a braced 2-wall that Windy City had a really easy time breaking up. And Windy City is going to tie things right back up, 3-3.
That is how this, I think that you ask what this game is going to be like, Sasha. I think this game is going to be point for point. It
really is. I mean, these two teams are extremely closely matched. I mean, even on paper, looking at them at the rankings, Windy City at 15, Charme City at 18. This is going to be a pretty tough game all the way through.
Josie wearing the 6-pointed star for Windy City, creeping up into lane 4, coming up against a brace from Charme City. I Am Pain on the outside line, though, becomes lead jammer for Charme City. Great work there offensively from Charme City. Josie not too far behind I Am Pain, about half a track. Lining up in the passive offense, though, is Charme City, and careening into the back of that wall is I Am Pain. She's holding her nose. It does look like she's got a point or two. I'm not sure if she does have a bloody nose there, though, Sasha.
We cannot see blood from our vantage point, but Charme City did pick up 1 point. It was interesting to see that Charme City is really playing the braced wall in the front and creating an outside lane for their jammers. You don't normally see the jammers go for an outside lane here, as we're going to have an official timeout.
So we've seen a lot of braced walls in this tournament so far. And what is fascinating is what each of these teams, the spin that each of these teams is putting on those braced walls. Of course, Victoria, I would say, really popularized the idea of the fluid braced wall last year.
Their braced walls change so frequently and move so frequently. Like, that's the gold standard when it comes to braced walls. I have to agree.
So what you've seen is a lot of, and Justice Feelgood Marshall, the bench manager for Windy City, running in to talk to Sugar Daddy. And Sugar saying, okay, we are going to take a timeout. And I'm not sure if this is an official review. It is an official review, I believe, for Windy City. And let's see what this one is about. But Windy City sitting at 3 points, Charme City sitting at 4. And really, what we're talking about in terms of the braced walls, everybody's got a different spin on it. But what you're seeing from some of the more seasoned teams who are experiencing with it is it's really not a crutch. It's not supposed to be a crutch. The brace is not supposed to be a crutch. And so the more successful braces are with those stronger blockers who are able to dig and really just use that brace as sort of a last-ditch effort of keep me in place.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is that a lot of people, when you don't see a brace done effectively, it's when you just have your hand out there with a light touch on the front of the shoulder. If you don't have it, like, planted into the shoulder itself, the brace is not really going to be as effective because it's easy to break up. It's kind of, there's no point in having a brace if you're not actually going to brace. And a lot of teams, I mean, we've seen them do brace walls, and they don't have that brace firmly locked in. And that causes so many problems.
So a lot of teams we will also see have chosen to take the front. Of course, Charm City does not have the jammer line in this period, so they are in the front, I'm thinking by default, but it is working out fairly well for them. Windy City 3 points, Charm City 4 points, and we'll take a look in a minute to see what the nature of the official review was, but we're about to get back into gameplay.
Clock still frozen at 26:51. Everyone's lined up. It is going to be Susie Powell, number top 5 for Charm City, jamming against Mia Goham for Windy City. That's number 17.
So it's a 4-wall from Windy City in the back. That brace 3-wall from Charm City in the front as Mia Goham works on it. A little stitch of offense there from her blocker. Mia Goham is getting some help from the Jam Burglar and getting forced to the infield from that braced 3-wall. Really strong 3-wall brace. Nice hit on the outside though from Mako, slowing down Susie Powell, but not long enough to get her out to become lead jammer. Right behind her though, Mia Goham.
And Susie Powell smartly calls off the jam. So the official review was Justice Feelgood Marshall using the official review as a timeout. That's literally all it was.
I do recall a time that he used the official review to dispute the color of the opposing team's uniform, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
so
dispute the color. He's also used official reviews to dispute the amount of timeouts he has remaining. Justice Feelgood Marshall is one of those kind of people that will use the OR in slightly ridiculous ways to buy his team some time out on the track.
He is a creative sort, as they say.
And we love him for it.
Number 1618, I Am Payne, out first for Charm City. She's lead jammer, still trying to make her way through a wall of Charm City blockers. Jan Trainer, number 4 for Windy City. Nice 2-all up at the front here from Charm City. And of course, doing a good bridge in there. That was Pittsburgh. Both jammers are out. 4 points for Charm City. That was the initial pass for Jan Trainer. Both of these teams moving at a fast clip right now. We are 3-on-2 pack advantage for Charm City as Jan Trainer stares at the front of the pack, trying to see how many blockers she can get in front of before she calls it. These nice 3 brace quickly from Charm City. Not going to allow her too many points. Oh, she's going to get 2 on that.
And that was one of those situations, too, where Charm City taking the front wall is extremely beneficial. Not only did it spring their pivot, Holly go hardly out of the box. I mean, granted, Windy City's pivot was also in the box, and now both teams are at full strength. But Payne wasn't really at a chance to lose any points off of that one. I mean, she gave up 2, but at the same time, she could have given up 4 if Charm did not have that front wall.
So we've got the back wall for Windy City, a brace with bookends. And that is going to be Kamikaze Cash trying to jam against it, right up against Mako, getting forced outside. Jamming for Windy City is Killinois, who gets forced to the ground. She's looking for a way through. Nice hit to the inside. Kamikaze Cash recycled to the infield, but out to become lead jammer, Killinois.
Kamikaze Cash has been sprung from the pack. She is about a half track length away. You do not see her on your screen. She's about to approach.
And now we're 3-on-3, trying to come around the outside is Killinois, and she's able to pick up 2 points on that pass. And like we said, Sasha, this is going to be the game, point by point.
It's 8-7 right now in favor of Charm City. And Charm has been adding Nikki Cash into their rotation recently. Cash transferred from River City in 2013. She played all of 2014 on the B team, where she basically started over as a jammer. She really wasn't much of a jammer. She was more used as a blocker at River City until she came to Charm. Now she's made their all-star roster.
So here's something that we have been seeing also at ECDX, a lot of pivot line starts. We've got Josie jamming for Windy City against Susie Powell. Right now, Josie is up at the front of a nice 3-wall brace of blockers. But inside, Susie Powell able to break free. She is lead jammer for Charm City.
And that was a low block on Pittsburgh. She went down and took Josie down with her. So Charm City, that's the one thing Charm has really been struggling with in this game, is maintaining a pack advantage or even strength pack so far.
I would say both teams struggling with that a bit. Susie Powell calls it off as she gives a little bump. That's going to be a 4-point pass.
And in terms of staying.
Scarlett. No? What are you? Oh, Scarlett, you were pointing. Sorry. Sasha was pointing to the Charm City Ringster display where Scarlett Tubman has 4 penalties already.
Yeah, Scariot Tubman is known as a very aggressive blocker, but
Scariot Tubman.
That's okay.
My bad.
It happens. Sorry, Scariot, when you listen. Yeah, she's very aggressive out there in the pack, and it's one of those situations where it's kind of cost her a little bit. She's already on 4 box trips, and we're only 9 minutes into the game.
So we've got Mia Go Ham jamming for Windy City. And again, that 3 brace up in front from Charm City. I Am Payne jamming for Charm City. And she is at the back, but she is threading the needle around the outside. She is able to become lead jammer for Charm City. Out also for Windy City about, I'm going to say, a quarter of a track behind her now. Gaining speed, Mia Go Ham. Out from the penalty box is Hittsburg. That's going to be a call-off for Charm City, and 2 points.
So that's going to take us to 14-7 here as we've got about 21 minutes left to go in our first period of play. Our next jam is going to be brought to you by Arnicare. Before pain gets in your way, treat it naturally with Walron's Arnicare Gel. Don't just mask your pain, relieve it with Arnicare and feel better faster. Make sure to visit their line of products online at arnicare.com. They are proud to be the pain-relieving sponsor of Philly Roller Derby.
So we've got a pack advantage for Charm City, 4-on-2. 2 blockers for Windy City trying to hold at bay Kamikaze Cash. They are called out of play, and she's able to make it through for lead jammer status. That is Jan Trainer, who has taken off the helmet cover, and she is trying to reach the pivot for her team, Hoosier Mama. She cannot quite do so. She's getting knocked to the ground. Great work here from Charm City. All 4 of their blockers on the track, forcing her to the outfield. Meanwhile, that is another couple of points for Charm City. It's going to be 4.
Yeah, Charm was basically swarming on Jan Trainer like sharks in the water, which sharks don't really attack people all that much. It's more like piranhas. But either way, they were swarming, and that's a bad thing for Jan Trainer.
She is still struggling to get through, looking for a little bit of help from her team. She looks pretty exhausted at this point and is getting drawn fully back, all the way fully extended by Charm City. And that is going to be Christina Rego trying to help her jammer out a little bit with a bump to the back.
Kamikaze Cash has already put up 12 points in this jam as we are still ongoing.
Jan Trainer coming up against Holly Go Hardly at the front of the pack. Still not able to make it and drawing a penalty. That's going to be a block to the head. Rev Riot sending her to the penalty box, and this is now a power jam Charm City.
And it's not exactly advantageous for Windy City to be giving up a power jam right now. Nikki Cash has already put 17 points on the board. Charm is starting to blow this game open here in jam number 9.
And they do have the pack advantage as well as the power jam. Beautiful work sweeping Charm. Charm did a beautiful job sweeping Windy City to the outfield. And that is going to be another 5 points. Charm sitting on 36 points here. Windy City 7. And a little bit of offense to the out, distracting enough. That is going to be Kamikaze Cash hit to the inside, but she's able to make it back on the track for another few points. And Judge Knott is just going to have a quick conversation with Just Mo. And they are going to discuss points. And Judge Knott says 4 points.
So that's a 26-point jam for Charm City. And speaking of discussion.
Wait, I see a thumb. That's 5.
That's 27 points. 41-7, here's the score. Speaking of discussions, make sure to use the hashtag ECDX chat if you're out there tweeting as we go into this official timeout. I know I saw my friend 40 Ounce Bounce is rooting on her former River City teammates, Raven Darkhold, Scariot Tubman, and Nikki Cash. 40 Ounce Bounce now with Charlottesville. They've really been rising up the ranks as well as Charlottesville. So yeah, if you're out there, make sure to use that hashtag. Don't encourage us to say things 5 times fast like brace wall. That's not going to work too well for us.
Yeah, that's not going to work. Kind of like the braced walls that are happening right now. Windy City's brace getting torn apart. Actually by Susie Powell. She's doing a nice job of tearing apart their back wall. She's able to make it around the outside to become lead jammer for Charm City. Susie Powell's really found lane 4 effective for her today in her jamming. And looking to get out now, Illinois finally out about half a track behind her. Susie Powell coming in hot, though, grabbing a couple of points. It's going to be actually more than a couple, 4 points for Charm City.
What Susie Powell's doing is really smart, too, because she's challenging the links on the brace walls, because some brace walls can be called multiplayer blocks if they are impenetrable links. So if you're going for a brace and you've got a fistful of your teammate's jersey and you can't break that, that could be construed as a multiplayer block. And if you're challenging that link, you can break that up and force the brace to go.
And it is extremely challenging when you're going at a high speed to aim for that link. You must be precise, otherwise you will get that back block penalty. She did not. She was in the right spot. Josie jamming for Windy City against I Am Payne for Charm. Josie really pushing on that 4-wall, and the no pack is called. Josie is through for lead jammer Windy City.
That was good footwork. The lateral movement on the toe stops on the inside line for Josie to get out. Very good footwork there.
So reforming at the back, there's a braced 4-wall that gets picked apart by a penalty. Josie makes it through. 4 points for Windy City and a call off from Josie.
So that's going to take us to 47-11 here as we have about 16.5 minutes left to go in our first period of play. Our next jam will be brought to you by Radar Wheels. Nail your stops with Radar Prestos. Hockey stops, plow stops, power stops, Presto.
And Sugar Daddy having a conversation with, I believe, a skater in the penalty box. I'm not sure if there's an additional penalty being assessed.
That would be to Loretta Scars, who is in the penalty box for Charm City.
And we are underway. Mia Goham jamming for Windy City against Susie Powell. Right around the outside, lane 4, working out for Susie. Lead jammer status once again for her. Oh, on the inside, quick little hop on the apex. That's Mia Goham right behind her, about half a track. Susie Powell finding only one opposing blocker to beat.
That's almost the littlest pack out there. Charm had 2 and Windy had 1.
That was Phoebe Fifo-Fum, the lone blocker on the track for Windy City.
Forced the call off, though, as Charm has the lead 51-11. We have about 15 minutes left to go in the first period. Looking at the stats so far, Kamikaze Cash is the main thing that has blown this game open. The 27-point jam a few jams ago. You take that out of the equation, we're still super close.
So that is Hoosier Mama now currently the only blocker on the track for Windy City. Right now jamming Illinois and Kamikaze Cash. Illinois managed to grab lead jammer status despite the fact that she was down 3 blockers. She is lead jammer for Windy City, and now we have 3-on-2 pack advantage for Windy City. Nice pirouette on the inside line. Gets 4 points for Illinois. Kamikaze Cash also making her way through the pack for 4 points. And now we have 3-on-2 pack advantage for Windy City, but we've got the penalty box emptying, and now we're 5-on-5. Additional points being scored here from both squads.
It's always interesting to see how quickly packs can go from like 2-on-1 to full strength super, super quick.
And with the call off, that's another handful of points, 4 more points for Windy City.
12-8 jam in favor of Windy for that one. As we have about 14 minutes left to go here in our first period of play. Our next jam brought to you by Rydell Skates. Unmatched quality, unmatched performance.
So Windy City doing something here that I think is a pretty good idea, right? We're like halfway through the first period. The back wall hasn't worked out for them. Their formation hasn't been working for them with those bookends, so they're going to try that square or diamond brace, as it's called. We've got Josie jamming against I Am Payne. I Am Payne coming against that collapsing 4-wall that is now a 3-wall that is now man-to-man at the back, trying to hold on to the back wall. They cannot. Windy City forced to let I Am Payne go. She's lead jammer.
Charm's had a lot of success getting the outside lane for their jammers open. Normally you don't see those outside lanes result in lead jammers, but it's been very effective for Charm today.
Windy City having a really difficult time staying together here, trying to offer a little bit of offense at the back for Josie. Not able to reform quickly enough, though. And when they do, they're not able to stay together. They're doing a much better job of it here at the back of the pack. I Am Payne forced to the infield, and she calls it for 3 points.
I like how you're pointing at our monitor. 3 points right there.
I'm trying to interpret
you know what, if we,
Judge Knott's fingers, because sometimes they look a little stuck together like a live long and prosper
Yeah,
type thing.
You know what we need to get you if we get the budget for it would be a telestrator. That would be amazing.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't think you want to see what I would draw on this screen.
It's probably for the best.
But
here.
I do want to see this jam. Mia go ham jamming for Windy City against Susie Powell. Let's watch that outside line. Sasha, you were saying they're doing such a good job of opening it for her.
At that time, they left the inside lane open, but it was a track cut in the process. Mia go ham on her way to the penalty box. Power jam for Charm City, and it looks like Daft Spunk is on her way as well.
Susie Powell on the inside on her toe stops, able to make it through, and now a bit of a passive offense that Charm City was adopting. 3-on-4 pack advantage Charm City. They are trying to clear the inside lane for their jammer. She's recycled to the infield and pulled back. We do have penalties mounting here. Still 4-on-2. Charm City with 4 blockers on the track. Only 2 for Windy City as the outside lane opens for Susie Powell once again.
Take You Down was assessed an elbow penalty towards there as the power jam now over.
Coming back out of the penalty box, Mia Goham is able to make it through on her initial pass. Susie Powell getting forced out of bounds, takes a look around to see where she is, and she calls it.
Good awareness there by Susie Powell, and was able to pick up 2 points as well. So that's going to take the score to 74-23 with about 11 and a half minutes left to go in our first period of play. And we are going to take an official timeout while Sugar Daddy, well, not very much longer. Sugar Daddy saw something on the track and said, no, I don't want this on here. Let's take an official timeout while I clean it up.
So Windy City having mildly better results, taking that front wall.
Yeah.
The formation that they had was completely different. The back line, they had a flat wall with 2 bookends on either side. That wasn't working for them, so they're trying different bracing formations here. We do have Kamikaze Cash jamming for Charm City, and she manages to stay in bounds, getting pushed to the very edge of the boundary. She's lead jammer, Charm City.
Yeah, almost standing on the toe stops, and again, going to the outside lane. That Windy City is going to need to find a way to shut that outside lane down if they want to constrain Charm in this game.
Illinois is out also for Windy City, but scoring points right now is Charm City's Kamikaze Cash. That was only 1 point. There was a no pass, no penalty amount of damage in that last pass. 80 points for Charm City, Windy City 23, 10 minutes and 50 seconds left in the first.
Our next jam is going to be brought to us by ECDX 2016, and that's next year. Philly Roller Derby is going to be celebrating the 10th year of ECDX. Make sure to save the date, June 17th through 19th, 2016. Feasterville or bust, which my car will probably bust getting up here, but it will be worth it.
Mine also.
And you don't have as far to drive as I do.
It's so true. Jan Trainer jamming against I Am Pain. Braced 3-wall here at the front from Windy City, keeping I Am Pain on the outside. Doesn't reform quickly enough. That's one thing Charm City is struggling with. That's one thing Windy City's struggling with. Charm City's got that down.
I was going to say, Charm's doing real well.
Windy City really struggling to reform. They got it off the line. They've got that bracing off the line. They just keep getting broken up around turns 1 and 2. Now, they are forced to let I Am Pain go. And now we are going to see also making her way through the pack for Windy City. That is number 4, Jan Trainer jamming. She did have to take the helmet cover off. We do have a cutting penalty, though, going to I Am Pain, and this is now a power jam for Windy City.
Huge, huge opportunity here for Windy City with 1 minute and 5 seconds left in the jam. Jan Trainer has already picked up 5 points. She's going to have to be careful about the star stashes. Windy City's been trying the star stash to get through. Of course, when you don't have the helmet cover on, you can't pick up points. But obviously, these are some super intelligent roller derby players that know that.
Really sweeping Charm City to the outfield. Windy City performs some beautiful offense there. Coming back out of the penalty box is I Am Pain. Ooh, big hit. Actually, not quite executed extremely well from Windy City. Doesn't do the job they were hoping it to do. Yeah. Jan Trainer takes a look around on the infield and calls it.
Well, she thought she could.
She's not lead. She could, that she wasn't lead, so she has some questions. She is able to score points, though, which she's trying to do. She keeps getting knocked to the infield on a scoring run right now, though I Am Pain does not stop to ask questions. She is making it through for 5 points for Charm City.
Thus far, a 13-10 jam in favor of Charm City as we have to go the full 2 minutes, which is just about to expire.
I think Jan Trainer forgot that she took off the helmet cover on her way through the pack, and well, yeah.
Yeah, well,
You need that.
I Am Pain was lead as well, and she received that penalty. I want to go back to that hit, too, that number 15, the Jamburglar, tried to lay on I Am Pain. I Am Pain is one of those deceptive kind of skaters that you don't expect her to be as stout as she is. She's so quick, she's so agile, but she can hit like a truck.
I will also say the Sportsplex floor is deceptive.
Oh, yeah.
Because even though there is a certain amount of tackiness to it, it is slick. And unlike the sport court that a lot of our leagues skate on, it's not quite as bumpy. So it's an interesting mix. So it's very flat, so you're going to roll really far, but it's deceptive.
It's really not like any sport court I've ever seen in Derby.
It's like skating on linoleum, to be honest with
you. It really, yeah.
It is.
I would have to agree with that, even though I don't skate. I've slipped on the floor with my bare feet.
The way that you might slip on linoleum.
Yeah, which happens. I'm clumsy. That was a team timeout from Windy City. Clock frozen at 8:24, 99-37. And again, we go back to this has been a relatively close-ish game, but Charme has taken the opportunities they've been given and they've ran with them. Going back to Nikki Cash having that 27-point jam just a few jams ago.
So we've got Josie lining up on the jammer line for Windy City against Susie Powell for Baltimore. And we've got the 4-on-3 pack advantage for Charm City. Susie Powell trying to take that outside line, getting shut down by Josie. And really beautiful job here. Charm City had that diamond going, and that diamond acted as a wedge for that 3-wall in front of it, and it opened a hole right in front of the jammer, and that was perfect for Susie Powell to capitalize on. And she did.
Calling off the jam here, waiting to see. Well, it looks like no points were scored there, so we're going to stay at 99-37.
So that's the beauty of the diamond formation, the brace. Either point, the back point or the front point, can act as a wedge depending on where the wall is. So if you watch what Charm City has been able to do with it, they've been able to break up the back wall, and then in the last jam, they were able to break up the front wall. So let's see if they can do it again, because we're 4-on-4 in this jam. We've got Mia Go Ham and Kamikaze Cash.
The good thing about that formation, too, is that you can always peel one blocker off and close out a lane if you need to as well.
Oh, that's the scariest thing, though. Dropping out of a wall, dropping out of a brace is, like, terrifying. But here we go. Windy City not quite able to make it around, and so that's the thing. If Windy City can reform around that diamond fast enough, they're going to be able to shut Charm City down. They're not able to do that right now. Lead jammer status goes to Kamikaze Cash.
Yeah, Windy City tried to block her out and recycle her. Cash could have conceivably moved forward, but it looked like her toe stop touched the infield. And she did the smart thing and went back and allowed herself to be recycled. The patience paid off. She got lead, and now 5 points here for Charm City.
And Mia Go Ham also out on her initial. Nice call off there from Kamikaze Cash, who's got 49 points for her team.
Yep, she's the leading scorer for Charm City with 49 points on 6 jams. Of course, she had that 27-point jam that was the big crux of that there. I Am Pain, 8 jams, 33 points, and Susie Powell, 7 jams, 22 points. So fairly spread around there. For Windy City, it's basically been Killinois with 17, Jan Trainer with 16, and 13 of those 16 were from one jam, and then 4 points for Ms. Dr. Joseph L. Simonis.
Killinois and I Am Pain, jamming. Killinois at that front brace, no pack call. Nice job at the back from Scariot Tubman, though, holding that pack together.
Looks like we had a ringster error, too, because 2 of her penalties have disappeared into the ether.
Oh, my.
That's probably a good thing for her.
Scariot Tubman did a great job holding that pack together with the 1-3. Now she's providing some offense for her jammer. Through to become lead jammer first, though, was Killinois, now on a point-scoring run, who makes it past the final blocker for Charm City backwards.
Colleen Best was on her way to the penalty box, as well as Windy City picks up 4 points. So 104-41 with 5 minutes left to go here in our first period of play. Our next jam brought to you by Gotham Girls Roller Derby Boot Camp. Take your game to the next level with the Gotham Girls. July 11th and 12th at Coney Island in New York City. Single day and weekend passes are available with discounts available for 6 or more skaters from the same league. More information is available at GothamGirlsRollerDerby.com.
Jan Trainer jamming for Windy City against Susie Powell for Charm City. We've got 4-on-3 pack advantage for Windy City. Windy City taking the rear while Jan Trainer able to make it past her blockers and moving on to this 3-wall brace from Charm City, though she hops past on her toe stop, now performing some offense for their jammer. Charm City's done a great job of that today. Recycled all the way back, though. On the outside, Susie Powell looks like she's going to the penalty box for a forearm, so this is going to be a power jam for Windy City.
And this is a huge advantage right now for Windy City to start rebuilding some momentum. The first half has not gone well for them, to say the least, but if they can start capitalizing on their momentum going into the second half, this could be a lot closer game going into the second.
So here's an opportunity. She actually turns around and takes a quick look at Take You Down. Give me some offense, she says. And a nice whip there from Hoosier Mama gets her through that pack. That is going to be a 5-point pass for Windy City.
Windy City is losing a block of the box and Take You Down, though, with a forearm penalty. So they, again, this is what's been killing Windy City this whole time, is giving up the pack advantage to the opposing team. I mean, it's 4-on-2 in the pack right now. It's going to make it extremely difficult on Jan Trainer to break through this pack.
She is lead jammer, though. I'm not sure if she remembered that when she had the opportunity to, and so she looks over to her bench and says, do I call it? I'm not sure if I should call it.
Well, Susie Powell just completed the initial pass there.
So she did have the opportunity to call it while the jammer was still in the box to reset on a power jam, but did not, curiously enough. But there is a team timeout being taken on behalf of Charm City.
You know, I think, Double H, I think the reason why, you know, that she didn't choose to call it off is Windy City had a full penalty box at one point. Now they just have Take You Down standing in the box. So it's possible that because Susie Powell was not on her initial, or she was still on her initial pass, she wasn't on a scoring pass, it bleed some time off the clock, get the box empty, but you're also losing at the same point, too.
If she felt like she could make it through the pack, and she was struggling to do that.
Right.
So if you're struggling to make it through, like she wasn't even attempting. She wasn't even skating forward at that point.
Yeah.
So it was a question of, I don't. Maybe it was a miscommunication, to be honest, with her and her bench, where she was saying, "What should I do?
Yeah,
do you want me to wait it out? Do you not want me to wait it out?" Yeah,
there's so many different tactics that you can take. Justice Feelgood Marshall, it wasn't on the screen, kind of had both of his hands up, saying, "Stop, stop." So
maybe it was hammer time.
It could have been.
I don't know.
Dan Glebitz does a sweet hammer time dance. So that was Charm City's first team timeout. Clock frozen at 3:23. We're about to resume action. Windy City had a 13-point jam in the last jam, perhaps trying to carry that momentum over. Charm did take the timeout there, so it is going to be Nikki Cash jamming for Charm City, going up against Ms. Dr. Joseph L. Simonis for Windy City.
And Charm City with the back wall and a bookend, doing a nice job of bracing in lane 4. Oops, comes up against their own jammer, who is forced to the outside line. Josie through to become lead jammer for Windy City.
3 straight leads for Windy City as well. Again, momentum starting to build for Windy City. They need it at this point, especially going towards the end of the first half.
So we are a full 5-on-5. Josie forced to the infield, calls it, and it does look like there's a skating out of bounds penalty. I'm not sure if that's going to Josie or to another skater. We shall see in a moment. It is another skater, and it is going to be in the penalty box.
That is Mako.
Mako.
Mako? Mako? Something's right. One of us is right. It's probably not me.
Rock, paper, scissors for it. All right. No. ECDX chat. We know you're out there.
Make sure to use that hashtag on Twitter.
And we do have Mia Go Ham against I Am Pain. I Am Pain coming up against 3 blockers who the elevator doors just open at the front there for her, allowing her to become lead jammer.
And again, another situation where Charme is getting the outside line open, but a track cut is going to send number 17, Mia Go Ham, into the penalty box. Charm City power jam.
That was called by Rule Enforcer on the outside. She said absolutely that was not legit. We are 4-on-3, pack advantage for Charm City, performing some offense on the inside. That was NC-17, Cherrylicious. A little bit of a diversion, enough to get through. 5-point pass for Charm City.
And all the momentum that Windy City just built up is now spiraling out of control here. 10 points already picked up by Charm City.
Coming to the inside and meeting with Mako, 62, sending her back on her bottom, I Am Pain. But now she is at the front, still tangling. with Mako 62 right at the front of the pack. That's another 5-point pass for Charme City.
15 on the jam so far, effectively erasing the last 3 jams that Windy City started to build that momentum back up.
Mia Goham out of the penalty box, back in action. She's coming up against Charm City's Diamond Brace. Falls to the floor. Looks for a little bit of help from her teammates. Can't find it. Holly Go Hardly says you shall not pass.
She has been reading those books lately.
Christina Rego also tried to offer some help there, but quickly reforming at the back. Windy City, they've done a much better job the last few jams, reforming defensively, but now heading to the penalty box is another Windy City blocker.
And a forearm to Mia Goham.
So this is a power jam now for Charm City. Another 5-point pass for Baltimore.
So 24 points here. That just blew this lead wide open. 128-55 in favor of Charm City here. We will have enough time for one more jam. There's about a second that will be left on the game clock when we start the next jam.
All right, so Troublemaker says, I hardly recognize anyone from Windy City. Have they had loads of people leave/join? Well, they have had loads of people leave. And right now they have very few people on the track, including their jammer. Susie Powell is the sole jammer, and that's the no pack call. Nice job there trying to keep the pack together from Windy City. Susie Powell is lead jammer for Charm City.
So it is about to be even full strength packs on both sides. Just missing a jammer here as Iceberg rejoining the action for Windy City. Now Mia Goham is sprung from the box.
And we do have 4-on-4, or actually that is out of the penalty box, Mia Ham. And she has passed the star to the Jam Burglar. The Jam Burglar trying to steal some points. Is not successful.
Was not successful. It had the brakes put on there by Mayor McCheese. As 8 points scored there by Charm City. That's going to take us into the half, 136-55. And Double H, I mean, we were expecting a close game to start things out, and it was for the first 7 or 8 jams. And then the doors blew wide open.
So I think what we're seeing here from Windy City is a team where a handful of these skaters are veterans and they know each other really well, and they know the strategy really well. And then you've got a variety of newcomers who know the league strategy, but haven't maybe skated with some of these other veterans before, like Hoosier Mama, Mako, Daft Spunk, haven't skated with them as often. And so they're really, when you have newer skaters coming together with veteran skaters, even if they've been working on the same strategies, the same league strategies, it's challenging.
Yeah.
You build trust with your teammates over time. A lot of the skaters from Windy City have known each other for such a long time. They don't even really need to talk. They know where they need to be on the track. And you can definitely see that Windy City is struggling a little bit, trying to figure out where they're supposed to be when, how to reform, where to reform.
Yeah, one of the conversations I had with a good friend of mine who shall remain nameless was that you need like a full season's worth of time to sort of build that bond, go out there and practice and work together, know your strategies, know what you're going to work with. And effectively for this Windy City team, it's the first season for them. They had a lot of turnover. I believe it was something like 14, 15 skaters from their charter from 2014 are no longer with the team. And we had another skater, Bork, who just returned to the charter. So you're basically dealing with a brand new Windy City team who is learning how to play together. And they're going up against top-level competition that you see Windy City normally compete against in the past. It's not to say that Windy City is performing poorly, but Windy City is effectively rebuilding and regelling. So this season may not be their strongest point. This game, I mean, if you look at the Windy City of 2014, this game would be a lot closer. But there have been good moments, like the 3 jams prior to the last one that we saw, where Windy City really building up, really capitalizing. If they can focus on those 3 jams and say, we want more like that, what did we do right? Windy City can get themselves right back into this, and their whole season can be like that too.
Agreed. And we will be right back here in just a few minutes for the second half of Windy City, Charm City.
The Radar wheelie bag is perfect for carrying an extra set of wheels. But what else is it good for? A helmet? No. A skate? No. Cauliflower? No. A cat? No. A guitar? No. A set of wheels? Yes! The Radar Wheelie Bag. Good for what it's good for.
Welcome back to the 2015 East Coast Derby Extravaganza, live from Feasterville, Pennsylvania, presented by Philly Roller Girls on WFTDA.tv. I'm Double H, here with my good friend Sasha Morgan.
Hi, everybody.
And we've had quite a compelling first half of this game, and we say compelling because really we came into this game wondering what Windy City would be like without so many of their veteran skaters that they have lost from the 2014 season into this one. And they're having some communication problems, certainly, and some penalty problems. And really, working on reforming those walls has been a struggle for them, Sasha.
They have, looking at the penalty count right now, Windy City was always kind of a penalty-heavy team to start with.
Stop.
I know, obvious.
What? No, I'm just kidding.
Obvious statement is obvious, but looking at their penalties, they're actually doing a little bit better penalty-wise than you would expect from a Windy City team right about now. Christina Rago has 4 penalties. Who's Your Mama and Mia Goham have 3 penalties apiece, as well as Take You Down. Mia Goham's penalties are the issue, though, because her penalties are jammer penalties. So that's been a big one. Everybody else on Windy City has 2 penalties or less.
So the thing about Windy City's, traditionally, they have been a penalty-heavy team, as you mentioned, but they've been an extremely effective and physical team.
Yeah.
So one of the things that they are working on trying to do, I think, into the 2015 season is to rebuild that communication that they had down pat with so many veterans on their team that they lost. So they're really trying to, you say rebuild, but it means everything. You're rebuilding skills, you're rebuilding communication pathways, you're rebuilding the wiring, that hard wiring of the league strategy.
Yeah.
So you can see Windy City struggling. The score, Charme City 136, Windy City 55.
And going into the half, like we said, it takes about a season or maybe even 2 seasons to really gel back together as a team. And when you lose, even half of your charter, it's still difficult to recover. It's still difficult to rebuild. And that's what Windy City is basically doing. Charme City also experienced some losses. Punch Trap Supreme, battery operated. They left the team, but that's a few skaters. And granted, they were important skaters to the Charme City roster, but at the same time, most of Charme City's roster is still static. They've been the same. You can lose a quarter of your charter, but you can't lose a half. And that's basically what happened with Windy City.
Well, the thing to note, before we came into our game, there was an awesome logo from the WFTDA's 10th anniversary.
Yeah.
We're getting to the point where a lot of these skaters are, what did we call it? Leveling out. Leveling up?
Yeah.
Leveling out. And it's a contact sport, and there really is a limit to how much a lot of these skaters are willing to put into this.
Yeah.
As much as they might love the game, it's an extremely physical game that takes a toll on your body.
The thing is, in any contact sport, whether it's football, rugby, hockey, any of them, and roller derby especially, the average career is usually only about 3.5 years.
Correct. And we do have Illinois and I Am Pain jamming in this jam. We can talk more about retiring later, Sasha. Illinois attacking that diamond that is now the 1-3 for Charme City. They've done such a good job of maintaining those walls between turns 1 and 2, off the line, through now to become lead jammer. Oh, just not quite lead jammer. Yes, she did, and she got recycled, though. That is going to be Illinois, number 312, Windy City. Shot straight out past I Am Pain. I Am Pain right behind her, so we'll see how many points. Illinois, oh, turning in the infield, knocks into another skater.
Yeah, that was Loretta Scars who was able to knock to the inside, forcing the call off. 2 points there by Windy City. We didn't mention the points for both teams here. I Am Pain, the leading scorer for Charme City with 57, Nikki Cash with 49, and Susie Powell with 30. For Windy City, Jan Trainer 29, Illinois 23, and Ms. Dr. Joseph El Simonis with 5.
And that is Josie on the jammer line right now against Susie Powell.
They've had a very quiet game, Josie has.
Susie Powell right through the inside, able to make a lead jammer right out of the gate for Charme City. Josie also able to make it through about a half a lap back. Susie Powell getting forced to the infield on her knees. She calls it for 2 points.
It's going to take us to 138 to 57. Of course, the benches switched at halftime, so Charme City is on the bench closest to the jammer line. But Double H, we saw in the first half, whether they had the front wall or the back wall, Charme was extremely effective in the pack.
Windy City definitely getting broken up often by Charm City's diamond defense. And let's see how they're able to deal with this 4-wall in the back.
It's a half circle right now almost in the back is
with Holly Go Hardly on the outside. That sounds like a recipe for terror. Kamikaze Cash jamming for Charm City. And that is Jan Trainer number 4 for Windy City. Jan Trainer getting pulled all the way back, letting Holly Go Hardly get the penalty in the back before she hops back on the track. Lead jammer status, Kamikaze Cash. She's coming in on her scoring run. And she's able to grab 4 points on that. Coming up to the back of the pack to try to score some points is Jan Trainer, but calling it Kamikaze Cash.
So that is going to take it to 142 to 57. Our next jam will be brought to you by Radar Wheels. Nail your stops with Radar Prestos. Hockey stops, plow stops, power stops, Presto.
Illinois on the jammer line for Windy City. Illinois has jammed in only 8 jams so far. I thought it had been more for her, but no. 23 points in those 8 jams, though. I Am Pain, 57 points for Charm City in 11 jams.
Charm City also developing a lot of space here. Now they have the ability to take the back wall near the jammer line.
4-on-3, pack advantage, Windy City. I Am Pain trying to find the outside line, letting her blockers try to open up some space for her as they perform defense. Not quite successful for her, drawing her back. Phoebe 5-fo-fum for Windy City. And there she is again, trying to struggle against that 4-wall. But look how easily that 4-wall breaks up in the back. Just enough time, though, for Illinois to make it through to become lead jammer.
Yeah, sometimes Charm City splits their walls up to get their jammer a lane to go through, but the problem is sometimes even a small lane is enough for the opposing jammer to break through.
So trying to perform a little bit of offense on the outside was Who's Your Mama, but Illinois said, I don't need it. I'm going to move my hips around. And I believe that is 2 points for Illinois.
So we're kind of back to where we started in the first half here, as we've got 4 minutes gone in the second half, where it's 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. I mean, that's pretty much how this first half has gone. And again, we go back to where power jams have really been beneficial for Charm City throughout the entire game.
So 4-on-4 for blockers here on the line. Jamming for Windy City is Josie. Jamming for Charm City, Susie Powell. Let's see if she takes that outside line. Pittsburgh tries to open it up for her on the outside. Can't quite let her through. Coming into the infield, Susie Powell grabbing her face. Really not happy about that, but through for lead jammer status is Josie.
Forearm penalty was called on Take You Down. Scary Tubman also on her way to the penalty box. So 3-on-3 even strength as Josie finds the outside lane there.
Josie trying to swing their hips around and calls it for a handful of points. There will be some conversation about exactly how many points between the jammer referee and the outside pack referee. 2 points for Josie. Windy City 61, Charm City 142, 24 minutes and 53 seconds on the period 2 clock.
Next jam coming up here is going to be Nikki Cash, number 127, lined up against Mia Goham, number 17 for Windy City.
So Charm City with that brace 3-wall. And nice job pushing out of bounds. Mia Goham drawing all the way back behind Kamikaze Cash. Kamikaze Cash now fighting that 3-wall that she breaks open with her hips. And a Mohawk gets her through to become lead jammer on the inside of the track.
Looks like a forearm penalty here for Mia Goham, and that's going to be her 4th jammer penalty. Power jam to Charm City.
So that is going to be a 5-point pass for Kamikaze Cash. Forearms, a big problem for Mia Goham in this game. And those are the types of penalties that jammers are making when they're having a tough time getting through those walls.
Yeah, a lot of jammers are getting their hands onto their teammates trying to get an assist, and sometimes they just get handsy and put their hands on an opposing skater and push them. And that's how you get a forearm penalty typically as a jammer.
So Charm City lining up here for a little bit of offense on the inside. Free Radical opening up that hole is going to get a penalty for that. But back on the track, that is Mia Goham. She has made her initial pass. Scoring points, though, Kamikaze Cash gets past the front and calls it an attempted apex jump. on the inside for Windy City is not fruitful for them.
20-point jam here by Charme City as we are really seeing an encore of the first half. It was, as Reverend Almighty might say, punch, counter punch to start things out. And then Charme just gets this one, they get the one opportunity and then they just stampede through the door. And it's interesting that they keep taking outside lanes. The last jam was inside lane, but typically as a jammer you want the path of least resistance, and that's usually the inside lane. They've been finding a lot of luck on the outside today.
I Am Pain and Illinois on the outside. Both jammers trying to find the lane. I Am Pain finds it first. She is lead jammer for Charme City, but right behind her is Illinois. We're 3-on-3 in the pack. Both of these packs really trying to mix it up and through for a handful of points. That's going to be 4 points for I Am Pain. She's going to play the long game, but there is a cutting penalty being assessed.
It was assessed to Illinois, so this is a power jam for Charme City. Another huge opportunity for Charme to widen this lead out.
Doing a good job of runting Iceberg. Charme City with the 4 brace. I Am Pain coming up against a handful of blockers at the front for Windy City. She's going to get through and get 5 more points for Charme City.
And Double H, if you're a stats nerd like me, you have to be thinking about how this is going to impact Charme City's ranking going into playoffs. I mean, this is the last opportunity for Charme City. They don't have any games scheduled next week, and to really boost their rankings up here is another 5 points put on the board.
We have another issue with penalties for Windy City. Only 2 blockers on the track right now. I Am Pain makes an attempt to get past them. No pack is called, and she's able to make it past for 5 points.
And that is going to be 24 points on this jam so far. Still about 25 seconds left to go. And Charme fully content to just pry this game even further open.
Illinois back from the penalty box, looking for a way through the inside. Looks like she surprises Charme City's blockers for a second, and they just let her go.
In the meantime, I Am Pain with a high block penalty is going to sit her down in the penalty box. Last 5 seconds of the jam is going to be a Windy City power jam.
And the Jam Burglar springs into action, trying to open a lane for her jammer as the jam comes to a close. Not successful in getting points, but there is a timeout, a team timeout being taken by Windy City, and it'll be a power jam when they restart.
So that jam was a 24-4 jam in favor of Charme City. 186-65. And going back to my point from a few moments ago here, Double H.
Let's do that.
When we think about the rankings impacts of a lot of these games, especially because this is one of the last stops on the road to the 2015 International WFTDA playoffs. Charme City coming into this one ranked number 18, Windy City number 15. Windy City, of course, still has a lot of residual from their super strong showing in 2014. This is something that could conceivably boost Charme City from an 18 to maybe a 14 or a 15 spot, and actually probably even to 13 or 12. That's the difference between being a 5 seed and becoming maybe a 4 seed or a 3 seed. That is super crucial when we talk about tournament season.
And I think Charme City looking to get back into that stratosphere of gameplay for sure in Division I. Certainly in the East region, they have been a powerhouse for quite some time. An official review being requested here on behalf of Windy City.
So that means Justice Feelgood Marshall is going to go into the center with the Charme City coach and captains. So let's actually talk about a little bit about what the difference really is when you look at the seedings at the WFTDA playoffs. I mean, if you're a 3 seed, you could be, you start out automatically playing the 6, then you could play, maybe the 2, the 7, or the 10 in the semifinals. It's a slightly easier path than going into a 4 versus 5 game where you're going to play someone who's only about 4 or 5 ranks apart from you in the rankings. It'll be extremely even. The 4-5 games are historically our closest games of the quarterfinals.
Well, we went through about 2 seasons in a row of playoffs where the number 5 seed pretty much maintained or maybe lost a position or 2 within the seeding structure. So it is really difficult to break through that 5 seed ceiling.
Yeah. And if you can come in from being a 5 seed, which according to the ranking right now, Charme City would be a 5 seed, this kind of a win could elevate you up to a potential 3 seed. Your route to semifinals is at least a little bit easier. It's not much easier, but it's a little bit easier. But then here's this wrench that's about to be thrown in Charme City's direction because they play Stockholm tomorrow, and Stockholm I mean, they played Detroit really, really tight. They played, actually, more than really, really tight. They beat them by almost 100 points, but they were playing them really well in the packs. Playing Detroit physical in the pack says a lot about your capabilities as a team. And Stockholm has the opportunity there to take what's going on here with Windy City and Charm City and really boost themselves up the rankings as well.
So let's remind everyone also that Detroit is currently ranked 17th, one spot above Charm City.
Yeah.
And if Detroit had that much trouble with Stockholm,
Yeah.
one might be able to deduce.
Yeah, Stockholm is, I think, underranked. It's probably the understatement of the tournament here, as our European producer is laughing at me right now. But yeah,
Silly Americans.
And you're seeing this, although, with a lot of the European teams now. I mean, Crime City was underranked at Beach Brawl last weekend. They wiped the floor with a lot of teams. And we see Glasgow shoot from out of nowhere into 24, 25, 26 range. The European Derby is looking really, really strong right now, and I think a lot of that is the pathway led by London, as it's Charm City's official review, not Windy City's now.
Well, so the story, I think, for a lot of these teams that are losing veteran skaters is, what does the next generation of team look like after you lose a lot of veterans? And that's a really terrifying reality for a lot of teams who are in the position to lose veterans. And I think there are a lot of great things happening from Windy City right now, and they should be super excited about the work that they're doing. I know that's a tough place to be when you are teetering on the edge.
Yeah, this team is laying the groundwork for the team of 2017, 2018 success. Jan Trainer out of the to start our next jam comes right on that inside line, lead jammer for Windy City.
Charm City starting that one with the Walmart, rolling back all the way from the line, rolling back the prices. We do have that brace up there, though, still from them. Great work at the front, fighting it out right now. Jan Trainer with that brace, holding the pack together is Raven Darkhold for Charm City, but through on her initial is I Am Pain. And now Jan Trainer hesitates for a quick moment, looking to her bench. She does get 4 points and calls it off.
So the official review was that Charm City was asking for a forearm to be assessed to a Windy City blocker. The no call, as you can see on the scoreboard, stands because Charm City did not get their official review, so Charm City can only stop the clock with timeouts now. They can't challenge any calls here. 186-69 is the score, as our next jam brought to you by Rydell Skates. Unmatched quality, unmatched performance.
A full 5-on-5, starting this next jam off with Josie jamming against Susie Powell.
Here, that's a good magazine, and Susie Powell was the cover girl of the latest 5-on-5 magazine as well.
Josie able to make it through to become lead jammer, getting smacked to the floor, though, right in front of her, right in front of Josie. Susie Powell is able to make it through. Josie says, I don't want to fight with that, calls it off.
Josie didn't waste any time calling that jam off. Time not on the side of Windy City right now, so you can't waste any time. If you see the opposing jammer sprinting out in front of you, let's end this jam and move on.
So pack advantage here starting out for Windy City. 4 blockers. They are going to take the back wall, and they're going to set up with the bookends on that brace. Charm City is a 3-wall, and it is a brace 3-wall.
It's going to be Nikki Cash jamming for Charm City, number 127, going up against Illinois for Windy City.
So Illinois hitting the 2 blockers in the back of that brace, trying to find a way through. There's going to be a cutting penalty assessed to Kamikaze Cash going to the penalty box. And this is an opportunity for Illinois to get through to become lead jammer, and she does.
So a huge opportunity here for Windy City, as you can see on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. Justice Fieldgood Marshall, the international signal for Power Jam.
So jumping forward quickly, Windy City's blockers trying to open up some holes for their jammer. They do. That is a 5-point pass for Illinois. And out of the penalty box, Charm City has a full complement of blockers now.
Power Jam is over. The Kamikaze Cash will be appearing on your screen shortly.
There is a multiplayer call being assessed in there as well, going to Windy City blocker Phoebe Fifo Fum. Through on her initial is Charm City's Kamikaze Cash. And taking a quick look over, Illinois says, no, I think I'm going to call it. That's fine.
Sounds reasonable.
4 points.
Why not? So 9 points in that jam for Windy City. And at this point for Windy City, it's not fully out of reach You need to basically dominate the next 17 and a half minutes, but also you've got to be thinking about how your ranking is going to be impacted as well, because they're a number 15 seed that could drop down into that 5 or 6 seeded range.
So we've got 4-on-3 pack advantage Charm City. Charm's got the back, and they are bookended. Their jammer, Susie Powell. Jan Trainer is jamming for Windy City. Susie Powell tries to take that outside line and is shut down momentarily. She is struggling to get past a 2-walled brace, getting forced out on the outside. And coming all the way back, though, Jan Trainer. Coming through the middle is Susie Powell. She is out of the pack, but she's not lead jammer.
Kind of a mess going on between turns 2 and 3 here. It looks like a star stash.
Star stash for Jan Trainer, who is able to make it past one blocker backwards. And then beautiful job recycling here from Charm City. Susie Powell on a scoring run, getting forced out at turn 3. Back on the track. She is scoring points. Meanwhile, Jan Trainer still trying to make it through. She does with the helmet cover in her hand.
And it's interesting that Windy City's star stashes really haven't been super effective, because when the jammer removes the helmet cover, she's nowhere near the pivot. So it's kind of obvious what she's trying to do there. Just a hint for those of you at home: if you were going to star stash, do it near your pivot to try and confuse people.
So getting recycled all the way to the infield, Jan Trainer, and outside Susie Powell. There is going to be a call against Christina Rego, though, on that one. So pushing forward, both of these jammers having a tough time staying inbound. Susie Powell getting recycled all the way back. Jan Trainer coming up against a 3-wall now of Charm City skaters. They are that brace. That brace has worked so well for them. The no pack call happens, and it reforms just as quickly, Sasha.
So Who's Your Mama and Cherry Licious both went to the penalty box. And that's going to be another Windy City blocker here for a blocking out of bounds penalty. There is no real seat available for Phoebe Fifo-Fum, but she took one anyway, just as Christina Rocco sat. Jam ends here 200-82 is the score, with about 15 minutes left to go in the game.
So there was no lead jammer in that last jam. Both of those jammers looked downright exhausted.
Oh, and you know what? This jam is going to be the complete polar opposite, because you take a look. There are 2 Charm City blockers, 1 Windy City blocker, 2 jammers, obviously 1 from each side. The Windy City box, the pivot, Christina Rago is standing in the box as Who's Your Mama and Phoebe Fifo-Fum seated.
And right around Kamikaze Cash is lead jammer. Straight out of the gate, Josie still working on these 2 blockers from Charm City, and they are able to make it through for their initial, scoring a handful of points, 4 points, Kamikaze Cash for Charm City, and blockers just pouring out of the penalty box now for both teams.
Yeah, they all pretty much hit almost exactly at the same time, and they're all coming out almost exactly at the same time.
Josie grabbing 4 points for Windy City, though. Lead jammer status still goes to Kamikaze Cash, who's also on a scoring run for Charm City, getting forced to the infield, she calls it. And that's going to be 4 more points for Charm City.
I've got to think Charm City is satisfied to play the long game on this one here, because they have a pretty substantial lead. If they take an 8-4, jam, they're still going to add 4 more points to the total, and they're still going to help in their ranking spread, because I don't think in terms of the rankings, anybody really expected there to be a 120-point difference almost between these 2 teams.
Illinois on the jammer line against Holly Go Hardly from Charm City. Holly Go Hardly content to let her blockers do some work and doing a bit of her own blocking that outside lane. She said, no, that belongs to Charm City. Thank you very much. As she also tries to push her way through. Not successful. Beautiful hit taken by Illinois. Turns her around, but she is lead jammer for Windy City.
Holly Go Harley is about maybe an 1/8 of a track length behind her.
Oh, and now the pack just takes off. Charm City turns around and says, oh my goodness, there's a jammer coming.
This is my favorite thing in all of roller derby right here.
Right around the outside, Holly Go Hardly is able to grab those points, though, still stuck in the pack. Illinois, who is the lead jammer, she says, you know what, I'm done with this. 4 points, I'm going to call it.
The speed control in this game is always something fascinating to watch, because you can go from a dead stop to suddenly racing around the track to going right back into a dead stop. If you're going to be a top 20, 30, even 40 level team, you need to have your speed control completely locked down. And both of these teams are really showing good evidence of that speed control.
So we're 4-on-3, pack advantage for Charm City. They've got that back wall, that diamond brace. At the front, a 3-wall of Windy City skaters. They are bracing, also moving in formation, just tearing them apart though. I Am Pain just pushing forward. She's able to tear them apart, but the drawback, beautiful work at the back there from Windy City's. That is Christina Rego, who is going to get a penalty for that. That is a forearm penalty that was assessed to her, but lead jammer status, I Am Pain.
I Am Pain kind of she got lead, got bounced back, and then found a nice big lane on the inside. And Pain just plowed over that Windy City blocker, Double H.
Windy City trying to perform some offense and then just realizing at the last minute, no, we need to re-wall it, guys, for defense, but not fast enough. Charm City just jumps in there. I Am Pain taking advantage of their lack of ability to reform at the back.
And that's the thing, I mentioned it earlier in the game, I Am Pain is a very deceptive skater. She's incredibly fast, she's incredibly agile, and she hits really hard. And you don't expect to see that in what some people, I guess, would call blammers, half blockers, half jammers.
So we do have holding with the Star Stash, Jan Trainer, the helmet cover for Windy City. She was definitely stuck in the pack there. Windy City, I think, in that last jam, having a hard time deciding which blockers were playing offense, which blockers were playing defense.
Yeah, definitely here as we move into the twilight of our game here. 10 minutes, 50 seconds remaining. Charm City 227, Windy City 90. That 15-point jam really extending the lead even further. It's going to be Kamikaze Cash up on the line here for Charm City, going up against Josie for Windy City.
3-on-3 for blockers in the pack. And trying to hit the inside line, Kamikaze Cash threading the needle to become lead jammer for Charm City. Right behind her, though, Josie is able to get a run on her. And clearing the way, Scariot Tubman just opens up a lane for her jammer. Beautiful work from Charm City.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier in the game. Scary Tubman is extremely aggressive out there in the pack, but she's one of the people that gains a lot of penalties for Charm City. It's not uncommon for her to see 5 or 6 penalties in a game, but she's also one of the people that you can expect to pry open a lot of walls. Windy City, though, using their last team timeout as that clock is going to be frozen at 10 minutes, 5 seconds. While we have a moment, I'd like to tell you about, well, it's my favorite time of year. It's Double H's kind of favorite time of year, even though it provides a lot of stress.
Whoa there.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Let me see where you're going with this first.
Well, it's going to be our favorite time of year in June 2016 as well. That's ECDX 2016, the 10-year anniversary, or 10th year, I should say, of Philly Roller Derby presenting East Coast Derby Extravaganza. Again, June 17th through the 19th, 2016, Feasterville or Bust.
So the WFTDA, of course, celebrating 10 years this year. And next year, Philly Roller Derby celebrating 10 years of the East Coast Derby Extravaganza. And I think these are the types of things that we're going to start to address as a sport. The fact that a lot of the veterans who started out and who really created the sport and the rule set are in the position of potentially retiring. And what legacy is that going to lead? And what is the sport going to look like in the arms of younger players? And that's one of the things we saw earlier this weekend with the juniors playing.
It would be Believance?
Believance.
That's right.
Believance. Hashtag Believance. Hashtag Killinois lead jammer. Susie Powell getting forced to the outside. She's going to get the cutting penalty. This is a power jam, Windy City. So
Windy City used their last timeout, but using it to sort of get their brains put back together. Power jam, as you mentioned, for Windy City. A very smartly called timeout there by Justice Feelgood Marshall.
Windy City hesitated there for a minute. They were taking the passive offense, and then they realized very quickly that's not what they needed to be doing. They sprung forward. They got their jammer, 5 points. Killinois now coming around for another. Windy City taking a look behind them. Iceberg going to the penalty box for her 5th box trip. And on a scoring run here in front, Killinois up against a 3-wall of blockers. There's a whistle, and Everybody stops for a moment. And reforming now, just 3 blockers for Charme City as Susie Powell comes back out of the box, tries to take the inside lane, and is shut down. Illinois coming back to this 3-wall up at the front. Susie Powell recycled again. Great work here at the back from Windy City, even though they're going to get some penalties for it. Susie Powell laid out again on the floor, and that is going to be a 4-point pass for Windy City.
Pack kind of bunched up here in turn number 1 as Illinois picks up another 4 points. A huge jam here for Windy City. 18-point jam brings them up to 108 as we have 8.5 minutes left to go here in our game. And I noticed the confusion there that Cherry Licious had. She and Raven Darkhold were out there on the track at the same time. Cherry Licious is NC 17, Raven Darkhold is 178. But of course, as the officials say, NC 17 and then 178. Raven Darkhold also used to be 17 when she was with River City. So there's some confusion there, I'm sure, as to, okay, I heard 1 and I heard 7, I heard yellow. Which one of it was us?
Sometimes it's a night at the Roxbury situation. Is it me? Is it me? Is it you? Is it me? You look at me? You look at me?
What is love?
Mia Go Ham jamming, I should say, and I Am Payne jamming. I Am Payne lead jammer for Charm City. Mia Go Ham is out of the pack, and she is about half a lap behind her. I Am Payne turns around and says, okay, I'm going to take 4 points and go.
So as we have about 7.5 minutes here in our game, looking at the penalties, Who's Your Mama, Christina Rago, and Take You Down, all within 1 penalty of fouling out of the game for Windy City. And then you also have Phoebe Fifo Flum with 5. And looking at the Charm City side of the bench, 5 penalties for Holly Go Harley. Not exactly unexpected. She hits hard, but sometimes when you're a hard hitter and you're aggressive, you can rack up penalties. Same thing with Loretta Scars, 5 penalties here, but good contributions on both sides. Even though their penalties have racked up, there's been good blocking out there by both teams.
Charm City with the Walmart rolling back to capture Josie just as the whistle blows. Josie jamming for Windy City, Kamikaze Cash for Charm City. Josie's out first. They are lead jammer for Windy City. Oh, calling for the pass. Colleen Best says, I'm the pivot. If you want me to take it, I will. But nope, Kamikaze Cash makes it through.
Kind of a combination of, if you want me to take the star, I will, and also maybe reaching back for the assist as well was Colleen Best. She's taken some star passes in the past and was not too thrilled about them when she got them.
Being the pivot is an extremely challenging thing right now in roller derby because you are often expected to keep your eyes in more than one place at once, which can be really challenging. You're trying to make sure that your jammer doesn't need you. You're trying to perform offense and defense.
Before we start our next jam, we'd like to mention Jefferson Comprehensive Concussion Center, the official concussion specialist of Philly Roller Derby. Find them on the web at jefferson.edu/concussion.
Right forward to the inside, Susie Powell meeting that 3-wall up at the front. Some penalties being assessed up front there, also to Windy City. Illinois is jamming for Windy City, still stuck in the back. Through to become lead jammer, though, Charm City's Susie Powell on a point scoring run here at the back. She just opens the elevator doors, makes it all the way through the pack for 5 points.
This half, Charm has really taken more of the traditional route of the inside lane, and it's boosted them up in their score significantly.
Illinois looking a little tired as she hits the back of Charm City and tries to communicate with her pivot. And she does take off the helmet cover and getting forced out of bounds at turn 3. She is back on the track. She's got the helmet cover that she's trying to put back on. She does look a little bit winded, Sasha.
Well, I mean, she's been out there 13 times. She's picked up 60 points. She is Windy City's leading scorer, but she's also been playing a very physical game out there. Maybe only 13 jams. It doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're getting hit super hard, like one shot to the sternum can knock the wind out of you super quick.
Now, I think the hardest thing, you talk about trying to catch the pack.
Yeah.
Trying to push through these walls as a jammer is exhausting. It is downright exhausting. So even one jam sounds exhausting to me, but 13, absolutely, you're right, exhausting.
247 to 111 here as our next jam is on. I Am Payne coming off the line, going up against Mia Go Ham.
Beautiful work pushing I Am Payne out of bounds. But again, that reforming, Windy City just not able to capitalize and reform fast enough. They're able to push the jammers out, but they're not able to get in front of her. And they are holding IM Payne to the outside line. She's able to jump right back on the track, though. Windy City not able to capitalize on that drawback.
Yeah, Mia Goham is trying her best to find walls around, and she's bouncing off the opposing Charm City blockers. Charm City's been doing a real good job of recycling her throughout this entire jam.
Speaking of recycled, Mia Goham breathless as she tries to make her way back in. She is struggling to get past and does complete a star pass to Mako, number 62 for Windy City.
10 points have already been put on the board in this jam here by Charm City as the jam gets called off. Windy City will not pick up any points off the star pass here. So 3 minutes left to go in the game. Our next jam brought to you by Gotham Girls Roller Derby Boot Camp. Take your game to the next level with the Gotham Girls Boot Camp from July 11th and 12th at Coney Island in New York City. Single day and weekend passes are available and discounts available for 6 or more skaters from the same league. More information at GothamGirlsRollerDerby.com.
So we are 3-on-2 pack advantage for Charm City. Kamikaze Cash jamming against Josie. Josie trying to find an inside line is getting assessed a forearm penalty. This is a power jam for Kamikaze Cash, Sasha.
And again, with the pack advantage here, it is 4-on-2 in the pack. Christina Rago and Daft Spunk trying their best to restrain Kamikaze Cash, but they haven't been able to do so today. 5 more points picked up for Charm.
And this is a 4-on-2 pack advantage for Charm City. Kamikaze Cash just goes right through that 2-wall. Now coming out of the penalty box, the remainder of the Windy City blockers. And NC-17, that's Cherrylicious going to the penalty box for Charm City. So 4-on-3 pack advantage for Windy City.
Just from Cherrylicious' body language, she wasn't sure what the call was on her as she sits down in the penalty box. And it looks like this is going to be a forearm penalty on Kamikaze Cash.
Josie threw on their initial pass. And now we have the reverse. We've got 4 blockers on the track for Windy City. It's a power jam. 3 blockers on the track for Charm City. And a little bit of offense, bringing Josie on the inside, but they're falling to the infield and forced to recycle all the way back. Cherrylicious coming back out of the penalty box for Charm City. And Josie just pushing forward, trying to get past 2 additional blockers at the front. On their toe stops, able to make it through for a 5-point pass.
Power jam is over. Nikki Cash, you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, is back in action. 15 seconds left to go in the jam.
Reforming quickly, Windy City. And there's a low block being assessed in the pack to Charm City skater.
Jam.
And that is, I believe that's Holly Go Hardly going to the penalty box or asking a question about that penalty. So let's see, Charm City 272, Windy City 120. I'm sorry, we've got Pittsburgh and Cherrylicious.
Cherrylicious 1 penalty away from fouling out here as a team timeout taken.
And that might have been potentially one of the questions again. Is it me? Is it you? Is it me? Is it you? Who's getting the penalty?
It's entirely possible out there as we're close to the end here. 37 seconds is what's left on the board. Charm calling the timeout. You've got to think they want to expand upon this lead a little bit because the rankings impact that it will entail is going to be huge. But looking forward to what these teams have left at ECDX tomorrow. Windy City will be going up against Montreal. Windy City leads the series 3-0, but Montreal looking rather tough this year. We'll see how they do up in action against Stockholm next right here on WFTDA.tv. Speaking of Stockholm, they play Charm City tomorrow. They already have 1 win under their belt. A thrashing of Detroit, I think is probably the polite way to say it. A 100-point deficit from that game. So stick around. It's going to be a lot of fun here at the East Coast Derby Extravaganza presented by Philly Roller Derby here in Feasterville, Pennsylvania at the Sportsplex. Make your plans to be here next year, by the way. June 17th through the 19th.
So we're getting back to the next jam, potentially the final jam here. Illinois, number 312 for Windy City, jamming against Susie Powell and pulling forward. Windy City has the pack advantage, 4-on-2. Susie Powell colliding with Illinois.
Yeah, Illinois probably trying to put the brakes on Susie Powell moving forward there and then create a hole as Holly Go Hartley is going to sit down in the penalty box.
Oh, Susie Powell says she tries to do the drawback, and there's going to be a no pass, no penalty. But nope, she is lead jammer. Illinois for Windy City. That was confusing. I thought there was a no pass, no penalty signal from the outside pack referee, but that was not the case. 5 points being awarded to Illinois.
And time is elapsed on the period clock. Once this jam concludes, that's going to do it for us here. I think it's probably safe to say Windy City is going to drop this one to Charme City, but they're going to try and at least close up that difference a little bit.
So Illinois turned around and called it. I'm not sure there were any points scored as she called it, instead of allowing the period to conclude. Charme City 272, Windy City 126 is the unofficial final right now.
Yep, unofficial final. Charme City looking really, really good in this game here. Basically, they did everything right. I think it's probably the fairest way to put it. They took the outside lane right. They took the inside lane right. They did braced walls right. They did the front wall right. They did the back wall right. That was about as close to a perfect game as we're probably going to see from Charme City this year in terms of getting everything all squared away.
I don't know. Give them a little bit more credit.
I was giving them a lot of credit.
Let's see what happens in the playoffs. You know what?
True.
What I would like to do is give Charme City some credit for their offensive strategy. Last year, they did a lot of man-to-man in the pack. You could tell that they were trying to overcome some communication problems in Salt Lake City. Coming into this season, they are using defense and offense in very coordinated, well-communicated ways. And I'm really excited to see how far they go this season. And they may have an even more perfect game than this one,
That's
Sasha.
entirely
That's my prediction.
You can't have more perfect than perfect. That's not how perfection works. I can tell you, though, because I was at their game against Minnesota about 3-4 weeks ago, this is a completely different Charme City team than the team that played Minnesota. So if you're looking at the statistics and you're looking at the score line from the Charme City Minnesota game and saying, Charme got blown out by Minnesota, they can't look that good. No, I'm telling you, this team looks a lot different. Charme looked really, really good. And again, we go back to Windy City as well.
I attribute the difference to believance.
Believance is very important.
Charme City had believance in this game, and I think Windy City, that's really all they need to grow as a team, is to really fully embrace the idea of believance. Believe that you can score points.
There you go.
Catman has called it. So we are at a final, an official final. Charme City 272 points to Windy City's 126. Sasha, you're absolutely right. This is going to change the rankings for both of these teams and the seeding into the playoffs tournaments.
And you're also going to have to go to WFTDA.com to see where those seedings turn up
July
on July
15th.
I'll repeat that, July 15th, because we kind of talk at the same time. We're both so excited. I know you want to know what you're going to see at playoffs, Double H.
I do. I know. You know what? I'm going to see everything at playoffs because I'm going to every playoff.
You're going to be at every single one.
And we hope that you come along with us. They will be on WFTDA.tv. And we do have coming up another ridiculous bout that you are going to want to watch.
Oh, yeah. Montreal versus Stockholm coming right up here on WFTDA.tv. So for Double H, I am Sasha Morgan. Thank you for watching the continuing coverage of the East Coast Derby Extravaganza.